Today we will see the explanation of the lesson the tsunami. So a tsunami is a long high sea wave caused by an earthquake or other disturbance. Here in 2004, Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami affected Thailand and parts of India such as Andaman and Nicobar Island and the Tamil Nadu coast. The earthquake was the third largest ever recorded. Okay, so here are some stories. The lesson shares a few accounts of people who used their wits and fortunately survived it courageously. So let's start part 1. These stories are all from the Andaman and Nicobar archipelago. Ignatius was the manager of a cooperative society in Kutch. His wife woke him up at 6 a.m. because he felt an earthquake. Ignatius carefully took his television set off its table and put it down on the ground so that it would not fall and break. Then the family rushed out of the house. So here archipelago means a group of many islands and the surrounding areas. And here what is the meaning of cooperative society? That is autonomous association of persons united voluntarily to make their common economic, social and cultural needs. And here the lesson begins with the narratives of people in the Andaman and Nicobar Island group of islands when it was hit by a tsunami on 26 December 2004. First is the account of the manager of the cooperative society in Kochal, one of the island at Nicobar. His name was Ignatius, and at around 6 in the morning, his wife felt an earthquake and she woke him up immediately. And Ignatius kept the television set on the floor to prevent it from the breaking by falling off from the table. And then they immediately evacuated the house. When the tremors stopped, they saw the sea rising. In the chaos and confusion, two of his children caught hold of the hands of their mother's father and mother's brother and rushed in the opposite direction. He never saw them again. His wife was also swept away. Only the three other children who came with him were saved. So here tremor is a slight shake of the shaking of the earth, and chaos is complete disorder or confusion. That is the meaning of chaos. So here, as soon as the earthquake came to rest, the sea began to rise, and out of sheer disorder and confusion, two of his children held hands with their mother's father and mother's brother, and they ran to save themselves from the wave. But unfortunately, Ignatius could never see them again, and the waves swallowed his wife too. In the end, only him and his three children who stayed with him could be saved. Sanjeev was a policeman serving in Kochon island of the Nicobar group of islands, and somehow managed to save himself, his wife and his baby daughter from the waves. But then he heard cries for help from the wife of John, the guest house cook. Sanjeev jumped into the water to rescue her, but they were both swept away. So guest house is a private house offering accommodation to paying guests. So here Sanjeev, who is a policeman in Kutchal, managed to save himself and his family, and he had a wife and baby daughter. But he saw the wife of his guest house cook John crying for the help, so he jumped into the water to save her. But unfortunately, both of them were taken away by the water. So 13-year-old Meghna was swept away along with her parents and 77 other people. She spent 2 days floating in the sea, holding on to a wooden door. 11 times she saw relief helicopters overhead, but they did not see her. she was brought to the shore by a wave and was found walking on the seashore in a daze. So, relief helicopter, you know that helicopters bringing help to the people during the floods. And what's the meaning of daze? Daze is the state of stun, confusion, that is the meaning of daze. So here the waves also took along with them a 13-year-old teenager named Meghna and her parents and 77 more people. And it turned out that Meghna managed to stay alive by holding on to a wooden door. She kept floating in the water for 2 days, and during those 2 days, she noticed the relief helicopters at least 11 times, but unfortunately, they could not detect her. She was finally carried to the seashore by a wave, and she was found only when she was walking at shore in complete confusion and shock. Almas Javed was 10 years old. She was a student of Carmel Convent in Port Blair, where her father had a petrol pump. Her mother Rahila's home was in Nancowry Island. The family had gone there to celebrate Christmas. When the trimmers came early in the morning, the family was sleeping. Alma's father saw the sea water recede. He understood that the water would come rushing back with the great force. He woke everyone up and tried to rush them to a safer place. Port Blair is the capital city of Andaman and Nicobar Island, a union territory of India too, in the Bay of Bengal. And Nancowry Island is an island in the central part of Nicobar Island. And what's the meaning of recede? Recede is move back from where it was. So here 10 years old Almas Javed's father owned a petrol pump in Port Blair, and there she studied at the Carmel Convent, and the family had come to her mother's home in a Nancowry Island, an island in the central part of the Nicobar Island, to celebrate Christmas. And on the day of the disaster, the whole family was sleeping. When the trimmers came early in the morning, and it was only when Alma's father saw the sea water move back, he anticipated that it would come back with an unusually great force. He immediately woke everyone up and hurried them to secure place out of harm's way. As they ran, her grandfather was hit on the head by something and he fell down. Her father rushed to help him. Then came the first giant wave that swept both of them away. Alma's mother and aunt stood clinging to the leaves of the coconut tree, calling out to her. A wave uprooted the tree and they too washed away. So, clinging means hold on tightly, and uprooted is pull out of the ground. So, as they ran out of the harm's way, Alma's grandfather got hit by something and he fell down. In an attempt to give him a hand, Alma's father ran towards him as the first enormous wave came and it took both of them with it. And on the other hand, Alma's mother and aunts held on to the leaves of the coconut tree, calling for her, and a strong wave came and took them with it too, as it uprooted the tree out of the ground. Alma saw a log of wood floating. She came onto it, then she fainted. When she woke up, she was in a hospital in Kamota, from where she was brought to Port Blair. The little girl does not want to talk about the incident with anyone. She is still traumatized. So, Kamota is one of the Nicobar Island, and traumatized is the greatly shocked and distressed. So here Almas climbed on a log of wood and she saw before she fainted. As she regained consciousness, she found herself in a hospital in Kamota, an island in Nicobar. The girl was brought to Port Blair and she is deeply shocked by the incident. And she got distressed to the extent that she did not want to discuss the episode with anyone. Now, come to part 2. Tilly Smith, a British schoolgirl, was able to save many lives when the tsunami struck Phuket beach in Thailand. Though she has won a number of awards, her parents have not allowed her daughter to be interviewed on television and made into a heroine. Okay, now here is a story from Thailand. The Smith family from southeast England were celebrating Christmas at a beach resort in southern Thailand. Tilly Smith was a 10-year-old schoolgirl. Her sister was 7 years old. Their parents were Penny and Colin Smith. It was 26 December 2004. Deadly tsunami waves were already on their way. They had been triggered by a massive earthquake off northern Sumatra earlier that morning. The water was swelling and kept coming in. Penny Smith remembered the beach was getting smaller and smaller. I did not know what was happening. So here resort is a place where people go on holidays, and Sumatra, it is a large Indonesian island. So here the tsunami hit areas of Thailand as well, and the story is about the Smith family who came southern Thailand from southeast England to celebrate Christmas at a beach resort. Penny and Colin Smith had two daughters, Tilly Smith, a 10-year-old schoolgirl, and other one was 7 years old. On the day of December 26, 2004, they had already experienced an earthquake in the morning. Now, the tsunami was on its way, and Penny Collin remembers seeing the water swelling as it kept coming in and making the beach smaller. And she says that she did not understand what was happening there. But Tilly Smith sensed that something was wrong. Her mind kept going back to a geography lesson she had taken in England just 2 weeks before she flew out to Thailand with her family. Tilly saw the sea slowly rise and start to bubble and form whirlpools. She remembered that she had seen this in class in a video of a tsunami that had hit the Hawaiian island in 1946. Her geography teacher had shown her class the video and told them that the tsunamis can be caused by earthquake, volcanoes, and landslides. So here whirlpool means a quickly rotating mass of water in a river or sea into which object may be drawn, typically caused by the meeting of conflicting currents. Okay, so Tilly on the other hand knew that something was not here, something is wrong, and she could recollect what she had studied in her geography class back in England 2 weeks before, and she came for England for a vacation. As she saw the sea water rising and forming whirlpools, and she recalled what she had seen in her class. And it was a video of a tsunami that had hit this Hawaiian island in 1946, and the teacher also told them the cause of tsunami, which can be by the earthquake, volcanoes, or landslides. Tilly started to scream at her family to get off the beach. She talked about an earthquake under the sea. She got more and more hysterical, said her mother, Penny. I didn't know what a tsunami was, but seeing my daughter so frightened, I thought something serious must be going on. So here hysterical means affected by or uncontrolled emotion, where you are hysterical, you shout, laugh or cry in a wild, excited way without any control over yourself. So that is hysterical. And as soon as she realized what was happening, she started shouting at her family to get away from the beach, and her mother later said that she was referring to some earthquake under the sea, and she got terrified and that is uncontrollable. Penny said that she did not know what a tsunami was, and but seeing her daughter so terrified, she could anticipate that the situation was not good, that was grave. So, Tilly's parents took her and her sister away from the beach to the swimming pool at the hotel. A number of other tourists also left the beach with them. Then it was as if the entire sea had come out after them. I was screaming, "Run!" The family took refuge in the third floor of the hotel. The building withstood the surge of three tsunami waves. If they had stayed on the beach, they would not have been alive. Refugee is the shelter or protection from danger, and withstood is endured without collapsing, and the meaning of surge is force or momentum. So here Tilly's parents took their daughters to the hotel's swimming pool to get away from the beach, and a number of tourists also followed them, and then they saw great waves coming after them as if it were the whole sea that had come out. Penny screamed for everyone to run out of the dangerous way, and they took shelter on the third floor. The hotel building survived three tsunami waves, and she further added that they wouldn't have been able to come out alive had they been at the beach. The Smiths later met other tourists who had lost entire families. Thanks to Tilly and her geography lesson, they had been forewarned. Tilly went back to her school in England and told her classmates her terrifying tale. So, forewarn means inform someone of possible future danger or problem. So, here the Smith family later got the chance of meeting other tourists who had lost their entire families during the tsunami, and all credit to Tilly and her geography lessons that they were forewarned, and Tilly later retold the incident to her classmates in England. So let's move to part 3. Look carefully at the picture of the dog and his dog and try to describe the things that you see. Using just words and phrases, earlier the teacher of or one of the students can write down the words and phrases on the blackboard. This is how you can start. Calm, blue sea, ruin, hurts. You guys also, you can take the words from the lesson and find out the meanings of the words. Okay, so before the giant waves slammed into the coast in India and Sri Lanka, wild and domestic animals seemed to know what was about to happen. They fled to safety. According to eyewitness accounts, elephants screamed and ran for higher ground. Dogs refused to go outdoors. Flamingos abandoned their low-lying breeding areas, and zoo animals rushed into their shelters and could not be enticed to come back out. So, slammed means hit something with great force, and fled is run away from a place or situation of the danger. Eyewitness is a person who has seen something happen and can give the first-hand description of it. Enticed means attract or tempt by offering pleasure or advantage. So it is believed that prior to the big waves entering the coast of India and Sri Lanka, wild and domestic animals knew what was ahead, and this is because they ran out of dangerous way to somewhere safe. And a few eyewitnesses gave a first-hand description of how elephants ran for higher ground as they screamed. Flamingos too left their low-lying breeding grounds. Zoo animals ran into their shelters, and no amount of temptation was able to bring them out. Even dogs refused to go outdoors. Many people believe that animals possess a sixth sense and know when the earth is going to shake. Some experts believe that animals' more acute hearing helps them to hear or feel the earth's vibration. They can sense an approaching disaster long before humans realize what's going on. We cannot be sure whether animals have a sixth sense or not, but the fact is that the giant waves that rolled through the Indian Ocean killed more than 1,50,000 people in a dozen countries. But not many animals have been reported dead. Sixth sense means a supposed intuitive faculty giving the awareness or explicable in terms of normal perception. We can feel something more, that is sixth sense. And acute hearing is reacting readily to stimuli or impression, or we can say sensitive. It is well known among the people that animals are having the sixth sense about the earth shaking. Some experts are of the opinion that they can hear or feel the earth's vibration in advance because they possess enhanced acute hearing abilities. And that is why they can perceive an approaching disaster a lot earlier than humans. It is quite obvious that we cannot say surely that animals are intuitive and can sense the disaster early on, but the evidence quite point towards it. Fact says that when the waves of the Indian Ocean took 1,50,000 human lives, but not many animals were reported dead. Along India's Cuddalore coast, where thousands of people perished, buffaloes, goats, and dogs were found unharmed. The Yala National Park in Sri Lanka is home to a variety of animals, including elephants, leopards, and 130 species of birds. 60 visitors were washed away from the Patanangala beach inside the park, but no animal carcasses were found except two water buffaloes. About an hour before tsunami hit, people at Yala National Park had observed three elephants running away from the Patanangala beach. So perished is die or especially in a violent or sudden way. Carcasses is the dead body of an animal. So, at India's Cuddalore coast, where the waves took the lives of around 1,000 people, animals like buffaloes, goats, and dogs were recovered unharmed. And on the other hand, in Yala National Park in Sri Lanka, 60 visitors got taken away by the water while no animals were harmed except two water buffaloes. And a point to be noted here is that Yala National Park serve as a home to a large number of animals like elephants, leopard, and around 130 species of birds. In fact, people present at the Yala National Park reported seeing three elephants run away from the Patanangala beach at least an hour before the waves came in. Uh, a Sri Lankan gentleman who lives on the coast near Gal said his two dogs would not go on their daily run on the beach. They are usually excited to go on this outing. He said, but on that day they refused to go and most probably saved his life. So, in this way, we can say that animals are having their sixth sense. So, the lesson is over. I hope it will helpful for you guys. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe my channel. Bye.